What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the High Life Reel. I'm Bill Rom.
Josh Shapiro.
And let's get started with today's headliner. Headliner thing today was, to me, the Blake Griffin trade. Shock. Out of nowhere. Especially the team that traded for him. Like, I don't see a positive of why Detroit made the trade. I get that they made the trade. Because now from a low post presence, they have Drummond. They have Blake Griffin. They have the superstar name. They have a personality. They have a person who can draw other free agents. But that team doesn't have a pull right now.
Yeah.
And Blake has got to be unhappy. You're going from being a lifelong LA Clippers, drafted out of college, like living
in LA,
living in Cali, doing it up, being in commercials, to you're in Detroit, Michigan, which is poverty-stricken as parts of it. Like, he has two ways I think he could go. You embrace it, and you become even bigger than you were for LA. Like, even though you were a star, you could be like the hope and the dream for Detroit.
Yeah, the face.
Right? Or he immediately is positioning himself to, how do I get out of here?
Yeah.
But right now he looks stuck. Detroit gets Blake. The Clippers get back the two big names in it were Tobias Harris, Long Island boy, Half Hollow Hills, and Avery Bradley, who in the offseason was flipped to Detroit to necessitate the trade for Kyrie with Cleveland. Avery Bradley's contract got off. Who do you think got the better end of the trade?
I'm thinking in terms of, I would say Clips.
Man,
they got draft picks too.
I think that Blake, to me, is underrated because I don't watch as many of his games because he's in LA,
right,
and
on the West Coast.
You got a 10:30 p.m. game on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I don't catch as many. Tobias was having a great year. He was leading the team in scoring. He was putting things together. For his career, he's always been like a mellow light.
Yeah.
And he's still been a mellow light and to a very good degree this past year. You go to LA, it's great for him. He's got 1-year contract. He's going to get to be in a big market to see what he can do. I really think the Clippers did an amazing job. You got out from Blake's contract. Blake's got another $170 million or something like that.
A lot of money.
Left on his contract.
A lot of Kias.
They just a lot of Kias. That's a lot of Kias. Facts. What do you think that this does for the NBA landscape?
I mean, I don't think it does much, to be honest with you. I don't think it shakes up like that crazy. Like we said, Detroit was still really far off, and they're still going to be a lot far off. It definitely helps out with getting the free agents. It's a nice little draw for them, but who knows if he wants to be there. Just like we've seen in other sports with with baseball players on the Marlins, everyone got traded away. Yelich like, I'm out. Ozuna's like, I'm out. Even Starlin Castro gets traded, they're like, I'm out. You don't want to be in a team like that in some part of your career. You're at the point, Blake's at the point where he doesn't want to be on a team that's building up. He wants to be on a point that he's on a championship team. So I don't think it does much, but I think it actually does a lot because I think he won't stay there. I think it's going to create something for another team.
See, I don't know how it's going to end up happening, but you have a weak Eastern Conference that just got a player who's been an all-star in the Western Conference. He's been sharing the low post and the duties there with DeAndre Jordan. And Drummond is a really nice player, but he's more of a defensive rebounder, not a point scorer. Blake is more of a point scorer, not a rebounder, everything else. It gives you a decent dynamic for the Eastern Conference. Reggie Jackson's still there, who's a good point guard. I think that team could get themselves that they squeak into being a back-end Eastern Conference team this year. The thing that I think it does is any other team that's interested in making a trade doesn't have to worry about making the biggest trade of the offseason. Like, I think sometimes, like, a trade that I really would love to see happen as a Knicks fan, but also think I just think it makes sense, is I think Courtney Lee to Oklahoma City would be a great trade. And I think that you wouldn't have to worry about that being like this big dramatic thing and the big move of the offseason. Big move of the offseason's been set. If DeAndre Jordan gets traded also, another big move is set. I think it's going to open up the trade market because everybody's going to be more open to exploring some ideas. sometimes I feel like you don't want to be the talk of the offseason for the wrong reasons.
Right.
And now I think you have the Clippers, who are obviously sellers in the market, planting their self in the flag and saying, hey, we're out. And I think that'll open up more teams to be sellers. And you'll start having people pick lines. So I don't think that this is a big shift in terms of who's going to have power. I think it will make it for an interesting trade season for the NBA. And I think that it does make it an interesting situation for Detroit next year when they're looking at free agents and people to come in. Who wants to go team up with Blake and Drummond in Detroit?
It's always the power of three in NBA.
Yeah, but you have two. I think you have two really good players on that team. Reggie Jackson's a nice piece. They might be one player away from being able to make some noise in the Eastern Conference, because from a big man standpoint, their big men are not massively worse than the Cousins, big man market down there with the Pelicans. So interesting things going on there. But the big thing I think it's going to open up is a lot of trade season. See how it goes down. And also see if Blake still gets commercials, or does he fall into obscurity. He's got to be fucking pissed. He's got to be upset.
Yeah, I would be.
Going to LA, it's cold in Detroit. He's in a whole new look. If you're Tobias Harris, you got to be happy.
Yeah.
Tobias has got to be ecstatic, because you're in LA. Even if you're only a short season rental and then you're a free agent again, you're now in a big market. You're going to get to be in some big market games. You're going to get to see a whole bunch of people, showcase your skills a little bit more outside of Detroit. So big for Tobias.